Welcome to the Recruiting Scoop on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com. I'm Joe Cook. Got Coach Dub filling in this week for our weekly pre-weekend look at all the different recruiting news going on within the world of Texas football. So make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And, of course, head to InsideTexas.com. Justin Wells is out on the road. We'll talk a little bit about some of the guys he is going to see. But, Coach, you got out on the road a little bit this week. The ever-talented Duncanville High School had their spring game, and, you go and watch and want to see some guys play, but it basically turns out to be a college coaches convention if you go see the Panthers put it all together in the spring.
Yeah, definitely. I think the line was just as long for coaches trying to get through the gate as much as fans. It was crazy just trying to get in the gate, but got to go see Landon Barnes, even though he only got to play a series, 3 plays, but he made an impact on all 3 plays. I think he got a sack, a hurry, and a tackle in 3 plays, and then they shut him down for the night. But got a kind of chance to talk to him after his time was done playing, and talking about his recent visit with Coach Alan Clark and the rest of the staff and everything he got to see in Austin this past weekend. And so I think he left with the visit super impressed, right? He said that they overexceeded his expectations, just getting some one-on-one time with Coach Clark. They showed him some film of Colin Simmons, Barnes' former teammate at Duncanville. Oddly enough, he wears number 8, the same number that Colin Simmons wore. And so, yeah, it's just some big shoes to fill, trying to be, I guess, so-called next Colin Simmons. But it means a lot to Barnes that they see him as, a guy is an example of Colin Simmons to follow up behind him. So that's really, really huge. And the one thing that stood out, Barnes said, he can tell the staff loves football. Like, they talk with so much passion and energy. You can tell the staff just loves football. And he wants to be around somebody like that because he feels like he'll be developed. And, it's all gas, no brakes in Austin.
What's different maybe about Barnes than Colin Simmons? That they both play that buck position. Colin had that first step that nobody can really seem to stop. Well, maybe a little bit different about what Barnes does on the field.
I would say Colin just maybe hit the scene a little earlier. Colin's always had, like you said, had that quick first step. I think Barnes has just developed over the years, and just seeing him grow. He wasn't 6'4" last summer when we saw him at the Texas when the elite camps we came to try to compete to earn an offer. So I think he's grown 2 inches. He slimmed down, he got a lot stronger, but his first step has improved a lot. But I think Colin Simmons just, he's just he's a dude on another level, honestly, come off the edge, which is probably he'll be a first-round pick after next year. But I think Barnes has some similar tools, maybe not as quick off the first step as a Colin, but he definitely can play the run, I would say, a bit better at this age than Colin could.
I just saw that rip move. That was something special. For the past couple months, we've been trying to figure out what edge recruiting looks like, and it seems like it's taking shape. They obviously have 2 positions out there. The Jack, someone like Lance Jackson fits in there. The Buck, obviously somebody like Colin Simmons fits in there. And it looks like now for Buck in this class, they might try to take 2, but we have 3 finalists that we're looking at. One of them is Landon Barnes. The other 2 are Jamarian Carlton and Xavier Griffin. If you had to make a guess on it, do you think Texas probably is more likely to stay in state for their edge takes at that position?
It could stay in state, or, you can take out 3, right? Dylan's choice, like, that'd be fun if you can take out 3. I don't think you can have too many defensive linemen. I think if you look at some of the national championship teams of the past, they can go 10 deep, right? So you can't have too many guys to get out there the quarterback. But you could stay in state right up 35 and, get Landon Barnes from Duncanville and Jamarian Carter from Temple. But just watching Elijah Griffin, I think Texas is really, really crept into that recruitment to it. Probably could be the silent leader. The narrative is, or the common theme is Alan Clark with all 3 of these guys. It's the development that he provides, who he's developed, got to the next level. And as Barnes said, the guys in the NFL trust him to train him their technique in the offseason. Why would I not want to play for somebody like that? So I don't know. Maybe you can stay in state, or maybe you can grab all 3. We'll see. It's very interesting to see how this plays out towards the end here.
With Lealon Clark, that's a little bit of juice that Texas hasn't had recruiting that position in some time. That was Pete Kwiatkowski's position. I mean, he's outside linebackers, but he's been a pass rush and defensive end edge trainer, position coach for so long. But he wasn't super, I guess to say, energetic on the recruiting trail. He did his job, but he's a defensive coordinator. He's got a lot on his plate. Now with Lealon Clark being able to get out on the road and recruit that position, it seems like there's a lot more energy at that spot on the recruiting trail than there ever has been.
Yeah, definitely. I think he just has a ton of relationships built, especially in the Southeast. I know he came to Dallas briefly, but a ton of the coaches gave nothing but great feedback about him. You know, he's like, hey, he's one of us. You know, he got buy-in instantly, and that's huge when you come to a DFW area where you really got to build a relationship with the coaches before you do kids sometimes. And so we know his roots from Louisiana and New Orleans and in Baton Rouge, so he had that in his back pocket already, right? So he's just doing a great job really relating to the coaches. And the kids have done their homework on him, right? He has a great track record, a great resume that they can look up and see, especially what he just done and helped do at Ohio State, right? He just won a national championship. Then you come to Texas and you're trying to build that exact same thing here. And so the kids are paying attention, the coaches are paying attention, but he's doing an absolute wonderful job on the recruiting trail.
We'll keep it moving. We will go a little bit out of state, and that is to go see Justice Fitzpatrick, Minka's little brother, 2026 defensive back out of St. Thomas Aquinas Powerhouse program in Fort Lauderdale. And they had their spring game, I believe, last night. And Texas defensive back or corners coach Mark Orfe made his way out there. As you can see there in the picture, Orfe saying hi to Minka's little brother. This is one of those battles where if you're going to go to Fort Lauderdale, South Florida, you're going to be competing with Miami. You're going to be competing with all these different schools. But Texas, at least they're in the running. It doesn't feel like they're leading or anywhere close to the top right now, but it feels like they're in the running. And, okay, it's as Texas figures out who to add to a really strong defensive back class, they're staying in the mix for Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, you know, he was on campus, I want to say a few weeks ago. He absolutely loved his visit. I think he was on campus, got to watch practice with Marad Watson, the defense tackle ended up committing from Syracuse out of the portal, and they loved it. And, you know, being Minka's little brother, him and the family said this feels like an Alabama practice. It feels like a pro practice, very organized, detail. Everybody's working, right? And you can tell development is happening. So I think that really stood out to them. And I think as long as you kind of stay in the race, you never know how recruitment may turn out towards the end. And Orfe, like Coach Clark, man, he's making it. He's killing on the recruiting trail as well. You see him everywhere. Building relationships, previous relationship he had at Rutgers, but he's a guy that just gets it on the recruiting trail. And so you just kind of stay in the mix. You never know what may happen. A kid may go on a visit and might not like, say, Georgia or Alabama, somebody else in Texas may be the leader. You just never know. I know he has an official visit set to Texas. And so, like I said, the more times you can get a kid on campus, especially if they're out of state, that means they're super interested, right? Because they're not going to waste their time, I guess. I mean, it may be a direct flight from Florida to here, but, you know, coming to Austin to visit, it says something, right? Long as Texas has a shot, I think you shoot.
You can see the athleticism there. And they're looking to fit him into a defensive back class right now that has Hayward Howard at cornerback, Hakeem Riley probably playing star or safety. You go ahead and you also have Jermaine Bishop, which, you know, could play both sides of the ball, but he is probably figuring in at cornerback right now. And, of course, you would not mind adding not only Fitzpatrick. If you get him, maybe that does let you put Jalen Lott on offense and fit him into a little bit more of what it seems like he prefers for the college level.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you can land somebody like Fitzpatrick, it gives you so many options that you can do with the other guys that you're recruiting, especially Lott, who's primarily been recruited by receiver by a lot of teams now. So it seems. And so Fitzpatrick, to me, man, he fits what Orfe's recruiting Coach Keenan likes as well. Like a big physical corner who can press man and run. And obviously he has the smarts, right? Like I said, brother played in the NFL and comes from a great program. It's like he can do it all. And they're recruiting a lot of versatile DBs, as you see. Again, he can kind of play press bell there. He liked Tampa too, but he just kind of fooled the quarterback and he was in position the whole way. Like they're recruiting guys who can kind of do it all. And Fitzpatrick fits that same mold, a tall, athletic corner who's physical. And I don't know, that gives you so many options. So it keeps you versatile on the back end. You can do so much. And guys don't have to leave the field. They can just rotate.
One of the things I always look for in high school film, it's not like a big indicator, but it's something. Are they playing in big stadiums? Because if you're playing in Cowboys Stadium, if I see that star, if you're playing in Pitbull Stadium, means you probably made it to the state finals in Florida. If you're playing in the Superdome, stuff like that. And I know it depends on the scenario, but it's still something to note if they are doing something like that. Before we keep going, got to show some love to our sponsor, and that is Luxe Kitchen and Bath.
This video is brought to you by Luxe Kitchen and Bath. Luxe has been offering high-end kitchen and bathroom remodels for 3 generations throughout the greater Austin area. With 5-star review after 5-star review on Google and Facebook, and an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, you can put your faith in Luxe Kitchen and Bath's award-winning designers and skilled craftspeople to bring to life that dream vision of your special home. But that's not all. Luxe's all-star team provides full remodels, large additions, and even commercial build-outs as well. So call Luxe Kitchen and Bath at 833-358-LUXE today. Or visit luxekitchenbath.com to discover where quality meets luxury and begin the process of transforming your home. Get a free quote today by calling 833-358-LUXE. That's LUXE. Or by visiting luxekitchenbath.com. Link in the description.
We'll go forward with some offensive line talk. Texas has Nick Robertson committed. They also have Max Wright committed. They're in a great position for players like John Turntine, Felix Ojo, Zayden Krempin. But they're not limiting their view to just in-state. And that came down. We can see that today. Scott Schrader, our buddy over at We Are SC, the USC website for On3, he's out in Hawaii, and he got to talk to Malakai Lee, top 120 offensive lineman, high 4-star, probably the number 1 or 2 player in Hawaii. He will be officially visiting Texas that first weekend in June 6th through 8th. And, big human, 6'7", 320, plays big ball out there on in I believe, the Honolulu area. And Texas looks good for Felix Ojo. They're still going to be in a battle for him. Texas looks good for John Turntime. They're still going to be in a battle for him. Lee is LDS, so he's got BYU, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia, all involved, USC. But Texas is going to try to get in there. And, maybe this is someone that in a big O-line class, maybe you do your part to try to add him in.
Yeah, definitely. That June 6th to June 8th OB is shaping up to be really, really special with a lot of great talent here. But, Mr. Lee here, I think this is absolutely a stud of a find out in Hawaii. I know Coach Nancy got a relationship there. And then Coach Kyle Flood was just in Hawaii. Right? They got a good trip to Hawaii to go see a talented player, which is always good. But you never keep swinging because you never know how recruitments will go with anybody, right? You don't want to be left out. Say if you put your eggs in one basket, just recruit 1 or 2 guys who could decide to go somewhere else, right? So you always got to have contingencies. You always got to have other guys that you're looking at that you're high on the board, and recruit them all the same until you can earn a commitment from the ones you want, right? And so I feel like you have to recruit Mr. Lee. He'll be an absolute stud if you're able to land him in the class. As you see, he's a big guy who can move. I mean, physical. Like, that's the type of guys you need in the offensive line there. If this is the type of guy you want to go down a dark alley with, or first guy off the bus. Like, he just has that kind of presence, and he'll finish guys, absolutely finish guys. And so I wouldn't mind seeing him in burnt orange. I don't know how many Texas takes, but get them all. You can't have too many offensive linemen. And so, you got some versatility with some of the guys you're recruiting as well. So some guys can play swing, they can play guard, they can play center. Right? This guy kind of projects as a true tackle to me. Kind of has a Cam Williams type of build. He's real big.
Yeah.
But he can move a little bit more better than Cam could. But a strong, powerful guy. You can probably put on the right tackle side and have him be a baller.
I think he's he kind of jumped up on our radar a little surprisingly because we were just waiting on I think early in April and saw that Texas made his top 6. We're like, okay, so Texas is going to Hawaii to look for an offensive lineman. We know Kyle Flood's thrown a few different offers out in recent weeks. We talked about one on Tuesday. But at the same time, Kyle Flood went out there, and to make that trip, if you're Texas, you can afford it. It's just go to LAX and then hop over to Honolulu. But the time spent to do that is significant, and it registers with players. I know he made a lot of visits to a few different schools. I think Alabama, Georgia, Michigan got visits this past spring. I'm sure BYU did as well. I don't know how highly Texas stands among his list, but to have that official visit locked in, to be able to see what the program's like for himself, and get the pitch from Kyle Flood, you got to give it a shot. And at the same time, if Texas hits all their in-state guys, goes 5 for 5 with who they're looking for, and they don't get a 6th, or if he's not the 6th,
right,
think you can still live with that result and be a little bit happy with it. Last one we've got is Vodney Cleveland from Birmingham Parker. Our Justin Wells is on the road on I-20 going and seeing the Southeast. Went to Birmingham to go talk with Vodney on his way through Mississippi, seeing some other targets. But Kenny Baker heading to a place that he's very familiar with in the Southeast. And from what Justin was able to relay to us and what we're figuring out by just, studying all the different tea leaves, it sounds as if, with Vodney Cleveland, the Longhorns are putting themselves into a great position.
Yeah, definitely. I know Coach Baker saw him in January, went to Mississippi to see him. Then, Vodney followed that up by coming to visit Texas, I would say in April, right? Got to kind of be around the program and practice and see it. And he absolutely loved the visit. I know he has an official visit set up in June. Like I said, that's going to be a special day, June 6th or 8th, man. It's going to be a lot of talent on campus. But Vodney Cleveland's a big guy. You start your huddle out like that. Oh, man. That absolutely says it all. Look, those guys in the Southeastern trenches there, and they play a different brand of football. It's like they build their defensive linemen in the factory. And Vodney Cleveland is no different. A big physical kid who absolutely, I feel like he flips a switch when he gets on the field, right? He may be quiet. He may be a nice guy in the classrooms, in the hallways, respectable. But when he gets on the field, man, he absolutely wants to destroy people. You saw him kind of defeat a double team there. I mean, he has a quick get off and strong, powerful hands there for a guy. He can move, too. He pushed the pocket.
That double team was against KJ Lacey, it looked like. Not Lacey himself, but against Lacey's Saraland team. So he's making it to the, like I said, big stadium stuff. You saw that Super 7 logo. That's the Alabama State Championships. But, yeah, man, the other thing, we've seen pictures of him. There's some measurement aspects that, are average, I guess to say. He's still, 6'2.5" and 315 pounds. But he gets moving so fast at that weight. Like there's some explosiveness there that, you don't – I mean, he gets moving quick. Like there's some acceleration you don't kind of see for guys who are 300 pounds.
Yeah, definitely. He plays with good pad level, too, for a guy. He's probably taller than most guys he faces, but he plays with good pad level. I feel like he always has his feet under him, so he's never out of balance when coming to make a tackle or trying to defeat a block. I mean, he just gets low and splits the double team each and every time. Like, he plays it very well. I can see this guy playing a one technique or a three just because he had so much explosiveness. Like, he kind of, like you saw there, he kind of squeezed down and then got rid of the guy and made a play. Like, most guys stay on blocks. This guy gets rid of his blockers very, very quickly. And he has some hustle to him, too, as you see him run down the line of scrimmage there. That's all you can ask for a big guy like that. Looks he's in good shape and good condition as well.
We'll have some more insight on Cleveland probably later today or later this weekend. Like I said, Justin Wells went down there. We're looking for, what's next with defensive line. Jamian Winfield announced today, USC commit from Richardson. He's shutting his recruitment down. We'll see how far that holds. But Texas has Vodney Cleveland, Kendall Graverville, Jarrellin McCoy, who may fit into the edge. Dylan Berryman is seemingly becoming a Purdue-Texas battle, and he likes what he's hearing from the Boilermakers. And then you keep on going. There's, it's hard to find where the guys are that Texas is definitely standing out for on the defensive line. But I think we may have found one here to start to put together a defensive tackle class that can continue what's now going to be a pretty healthy pipeline because of what they took in the transfer portal to reset maybe that class of 2024 because they took that strong class of 2025. They need to have numbers coming in 2026 so they don't always have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in the transfer portal on defensive tackles, and we know how expensive that can get. So good looks on Cleveland, and again, head to Inside Texas, not just for insight from Justin Wells on Cleveland, but on Mississippi prospects, maybe some Louisiana prospects, and more throughout the state of Texas. Also, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel. We'll be here all week. I think tomorrow, LC and Ian have another scheme breakdown. We've got some more look aheads as far as the 2025 schedule, whether that's Sam Houston State, whether that is UTEP. Got a very special one for San Jose State, which should be pretty cool. I know you don't confuse or you don't put San Jose State and special together. But we got a great guest for that one. And then Monday, Charlie, you'll be back on for Monday Morning Live and be celebrating the holiday. So thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Recruiting Scoop on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel.